Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated.
Good morning, Mariners.
Coming up,
Updates on SGA.
information on our yearbook.
What's on the menu at Champs today?
And stay tuned after the broadcast for our grade level meetings with Mr. Welton, Mr. Jenkins, and Dr. Young. Grade level meetings will be live on this channel directly after the broadcast. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Jaleese. This is So Much More. Riptide starts now.
This is your daily broadcast, Reinvented, informing you on the latest things happening around campus, providing you with sport updates, the daily weather forecast, and showing you the mighty Mariner way. Mariner Studios presents Riptide.
Mariners, today is Friday, September 18th.
Attention Mariners, good news. The SGA officer elections have been moved to September 23rd through 25th. This will give candidates time to decide if they want to run for an office and time to campaign. If you would like to run for SGA office, please let Mr. Monteleone or Mr. Wheeler know before September 17th so that they can get together a list of candidates and make up a ballot. Once you notify one of them, please start coming up with signs, posters, flyers, speeches, and more. Speeches go to Mr. Monteleone for approval and then Mr. Hoyle for filming, while flyers, posters, etc. go to Mr. Jenkins for approval and they will be put up the way he wants them. Please start telling people to vote for you and spreading the word. SGA meetings will start on October 6th after school for about an hour and will be every first and third Tuesday of the month. Good luck to all our MMS SGA Mariner candidates.
All students interested in running for Murdoch SGA office, please listen up. You will need to maintain a 3.0 GPA from third quarter of 2020 in order to run for office, and you will need to maintain that GPA throughout the year in order to keep your office roll. GPAs will be checked at the end of this week, and if you are on the candidate list of those wanting to run for office, but you do not have a 3.0 GPA or higher, you will not be able to run. We understand this may be discouraging, but please instead just try hard this year so that you can run next year either here or in high school. Also, you need to have no referrals this year and continue to not receive any throughout the year. If you get one, depending on the degree, you will be placed on behavioral probation, where you cannot receive another one the rest of the year or you will be removed from SGA. Administration reserves the rights to make decisions that stray from this format if necessary. Thank you for understanding.
Here are a few brief messages from the running candidates.
Good morning, Murdoch students. I'm Reagan McLeod, and I'm running for SGA Vice President. I'm an 8th grader student, and last year I was involved in tons of clubs, including NJHS and FCA.
Students' pre-orders for our 2020 through 2021 yearbook have started. Starting this Monday before first period, Mr. Hoyle will accept cash or check made out to Murdoch Middle School. Yearbook for $25.
Mariners, today for lunch we'll be having beefaroni, and Monday we will be having Asian chicken. Remember, all students on campus are eligible for both free breakfast and lunch, so make sure to stop by to fuel up.
That's all for this edition of Riptide. Have a fantastic Friday.
I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Jaleese.
And stay tuned for our grade level meetings.
Thanks for watching Riptide. See ya.
Good morning, students. I'm Mr. Welton, your principal. I'm the only one in here at the moment. I'm going to have plenty of room, not going to have anybody around me. So for the purpose of this broadcast, I want to take my mask off. So normally we have our grade level meetings individually. In other words, we meet with 6th grade, then 7th, and then 8th, and we introduce each of the administrators and go over some expectations that we have on campus. This year, because of the concern with the coronavirus, we're going to do, this is a live broadcast, but we're going to do it so that you can see it in your, in your classroom, and we're able to maintain some social distancing there. So we're going to run through some expectations that we have for you. I think it's important for you to know what may be different at Murdoch than what you experienced sixth graders, what you experienced at elementary school. It's just a reminder for 7th and 8th graders, and maybe a touch on a few things that are different. We know that this year there are some unique things that are going on with COVID, and so we just want to be able to share with you what those expectations are, so that you know how to behave here and what it means to be a Mariner and conduct yourself a certain way when you're on our campus. So we're going to run through those things. First thing I want to start with is, how is it students are supposed to react when an adult steps up to a microphone or steps in front of you to addresses you and begins to talk? This is particularly important. You know, every day in a classroom that when the teacher starts to talk, to give instruction, that your responsibility is to make sure that your eyes are on them and that your ears are open and you're being attentive to what it is they're saying. It's easy to be distracted sometimes. In a large group, if we're in the cafeteria and somebody's trying to talk to you, our expectations are just that you stop what you're doing, you give the eye contact to the person who's speaking, you listen to them, and then when they're done, you go right back to socialization, or you follow the directions that they're giving you. And you're going to hear us say that when we're in the cafeteria. We're going to remind you that over and over, because when you're in a large group, sometimes it's hard to stop. You don't want to stop talking to your friends, and we get that. We want you to be able to talk to your friends. And the quickest way for you to be able to get back to socializing is to stop what you're doing, attend to the person who's speaking, make sure that you're showing them that respect, and as soon as they're done, then generally you're able to go right back to what it is that you were doing. Continuing to talk when somebody else is trying to talk is incredibly disrespectful and rude. We wouldn't do that to you, so we expect you not to do that to us, and when we step up there, that you'd listen. And so far in the cafeteria or in group settings, it's been amazing. You guys have done a fantastic job, and you've done just that. But we want you to know that that also applies right now when we're doing a broadcast, so make sure that you're attending to what we're doing and that you stop any of your other work and you listen to what Mr. Jenkins and I and Dr. Young have to say over the next few minutes. So you're going to see me refer to some notes. I'm going to be able to do that back and forth, so I'm going to be looking down for a minute just to be able to make sure I can stay on track with you guys. So the expectation in the cafeteria, I'm going to run over that just for a moment. So when you arrive in the cafeteria, you are to go to your assigned seat. You remain seated there until you're called to go up to get in line. We're going to purposely keep those lines short as much as possible. Remember, when you go through the cafeteria line, you cannot be touching food. You have to have your masks on the whole time. When you reach out to touch something, now it's yours. You have to take it with you. You can't put it back. You exit the line. You have a seat in your assigned seat. That's really critical this year. You remain there. If you need to get up for any reason, you raise your hand, whether that's to go to the restroom, dump your tray, if you need something, and you guys have been doing a fantastic job with that. Once you're done and you dump your tray, you come back and sit down. We expect you then to make sure that you're using a hand sanitizer or washing your hands, that you remain in your seat, that you put your mask back on at that point, and that you can continue your conversation with your friends. I do want to stress with you the importance of assigned seating in the cafeteria and in the classroom. The primary reason for this and why we're having you wear masks is because if we have a positive case, we need to be able to identify any student or adult who may have been exposed. And the only way we can do that with any sort of accuracy is if you guys are sitting in the seats that you are assigned to. And so we're going to next week be reassigning seats. We're going to give you the opportunity in the cafeteria to change seats next week. Sit with a friend if you want to change that. And then that's going to be your seat at least through the remainder of this quarter. But we want to make sure that we have that accurate, because right now there has been some movement, and part of that is because we've had a lot of new people come in. So we're going to give you the opportunity to have some new seats next week, but you have to remain in those. It is the same way in the classroom. You must remain in those assigned seats when you go in there. It's really critical. Well, I just dropped my notes, so I'm going to bend over and pick those up. So that's basically it for classrooms and cafeterias when it comes to wearing your masks. Just another reminder, and you guys have been amazing with your mask wearing. Once you get on the bus all the way through, you're to wear your mask until you leave campus, and there's not a reason to take it off. We want to leave it to the greatest extent possible. You are to leave your mask on. And there may be at times in PE when you're out on the field that you'd be able to remove it because you've got that distance and you're outside. And in a cafeteria when you are eating, that's about the only time that you will have the freedom to be able to take your mask off. And I just want to say, you guys have been amazing. You've done a fantastic job, and there really hasn't been an issue. So I just am impressed with your maturity and your ability to take on that responsibility and keep up with your masks and show up. So if you arrive to a bus stop or you get dropped off here and you realize that you don't have a mask, don't worry. We'll make sure that we can get one to you. You just need to notify the first adult, and we'll get a mask to you either through the front office or we'll have it delivered to where you are. This year, you know that handling textbooks is a little different, that we have gone to Chromebooks. All the students should have their Chromebooks now. And what's really important here is, I know it's a big ask, but we are asking you to be responsible students and to take care of this property just at least as careful as you would your phone, if not more. The truth is your Chromebook is not as durable as a phone, so you're going to need to treat it even with greater care than you would with your phone. You don't want to put it down and leave it somewhere. You don't want to drop it. You don't want to get it wet. All those things, you just want to make sure that you take care of it. Your responsibility with a Chromebook is you make sure that you return to campus with your Chromebook charged. That is your responsibility. Just make sure, come up with a habit every night when you get home that you plug that in, because there's not a way for us to just continually charge students Chromebooks or to provide you with one if you've forgotten it. I mean, that's just not going to work for you. It is going to be a real hindrance for you academically if you do not have that tool. So make sure that you have that tool. When you get ready to leave at the end of the day, you want to power your Chromebook off. Put it away, make sure that it's turned off, and remember, if it at any time gets wet, do not turn it on. Don't turn it on if it gets wet at all. Make sure you leave it off so that until it's completely dry before you turn it back on. So that's pretty much it for Chromebooks. With regards to phones, I'm just going to read what the district policy is right out of the Student Code of Conduct, the handbook for you. I just want to go over this and make sure, and we really have not had much problems with this, and you guys have handled this really well. But I want you to know what the expectation is. So right out of the Student Code of Conduct, student use of cellular phones or other electronic or wireless devices is strictly prohibited at any time once the school day begins, unless specific permission is granted by a teacher or administrator. And you also need to know that it's the expectation of school policies that before you're using it in a classroom for an academic purpose, your teacher has gotten permission from an administrator to do that. So before you ever walk in the gate, if you have a phone on you, it's powered off and it's put away, and it stays there until the last bell goes off at the end of the day and you're exiting campus. Then it's good to pull it out. Now, I want to read to you what happens if you pull your phone out during the day. It just says cellular phones or other communication devices used during the school day or on a school bus without specific permission will be confiscated. So in plain language, what I'm saying is if you pull your cell phone out, my expectation is that the adult who sees that confiscates that phone, and that phone will be turned into the front office. Now, the first time at the end of 7th period, when the bell rings, you're dismissed, you can come to the front office and you'll have the phone returned to you. Second time, there's a phone call home and you're not going to be, third time, you're not getting it. The parent has to come and pick it up. So don't do that to yourselves. We don't want your phone. We want you to have your phone, and the best way for you to keep that is to make sure that it is turned off and put away. And I know students like to use the excuse, yes, but I need to text my mom, or, I was just checking the time, or, I forgot to turn it off. Look, we're not going to buy excuses. Our expectations is if you're old enough to have a phone and to have it with you during the day, then you're old enough to be responsible for what you do with it. So make sure that you keep that turned off and put away. The next one I want to read straight from the Code of Conduct is dress code. And I just want you to know that we've noticed a slide there. We expect you to do the right thing when it comes to dress code. There are certain jobs where you have a uniform that you're supposed to wear, or a sports team, you have a uniform you're supposed to wear. Most businesses have a type of a dress code. Schools have a dress code. This is district policy. It doesn't mean that we don't like what you're wearing. It just means that there's an expectation that you wear certain clothing when you come to school, and you wear the clothing, whatever else that you're wearing, you wear some other time. When you're going to the mall, you're going to the beach, you're hanging out at home. It's not the same as when you come to school. And you need to be able to think of that differently and dress accordingly. So just so we're real clear, and sixth graders, I really want you to listen to this, because there's a difference between what dress code is okay in middle school and high school and what's okay when you're in elementary school. But everybody needs to catch up on this particular one as well. So first, it just says undergarments are to remain unexposed. That means we should not see bra straps. We should not see underwear. Guys, their pants. I'll just read it. It says pants, skirts, shorts, shirts, dresses whose lengths are about the knee or longer when standing. That's how long it has to be. So if you're in a pair of shorts, it needs to be just about right around your knee. If you have on a dress or a skirt, you can have a very nice looking dress, a very nice looking skirt on, ladies. But if it is short, it's not appropriate for school. It doesn't mean that it's not an appropriate dress. It just means it's not the right attire for where we are. We expect it to be at the knees. When it comes to jeans, I just want to read it to you. Pants with tears or rips above the knee can only be worn, and this is important, with clothing that covers exposed skin. In other words, you can't stick a piece of paper in there or put a piece of tape over it or something along those lines. You have to have either shorts or leggings or something underneath there. So if you've got holes above the knee that shows skin, that's a violation of dress code, and that's the one we struggle with the most. I would just say, just label those pants that have the rips in it as what you do for fun, and when you're socializing or you're meeting up with your friends, that's great, but it is not appropriate for school. So I want to make sure that you understand that the clothing there must be about the knee. The other piece is no undergarments. Anything that you're wearing, okay, whether it's a skirt or a pair of pants or a shorts, they have to be fastened at the waist, not down here. Not dropping down so and it doesn't matter whether it's gym shorts or another second pair of pants. This is what guys like to tell me, but it's just a pair of gym shorts. That's not what the dress code says. Dress code says the pants have to be fastened at your waist. And is it you dress how you want when you're not here, but we don't want you getting in trouble. Our job is to enforce this. We just want to make sure that you understand what the expectation is. So make sure that your pants are fastened at the waist. Ladies, make sure that your bra straps are not showing, and make sure that the length of your clothing is correct. The only other real item when it comes to attire is that there are certain symbols that are not okay on campus. Anything that advertises alcohol, tobacco, drugs, firearms, promotes any kind of violence, those things are prohibited. The district also has a sign in there too, so that if you were wearing something that is offensive to people and may not be directly related to violence or something, then we can also say, hey, that's not good. It's disturbing to the people around you. That's not appropriate to wear. So just make sure that you understand the difference between being social or being home and being at school. There is an expectation here. So that's pretty much it for dress code. I've just got a couple other topics to touch on. I seem to keep dropping the paper. The last one is horseplay and PDA, which is public displays of affection. This is not the place for that. It doesn't matter, same gender, heterosexual, doesn't matter. It's not about your gender or who it is that you like or don't like. It's about at middle school, it's not the appropriate place to be showing affection to another person in that way. Your friend walks up and gives you a brief hug, we got that. Walking around holding hands, not okay. And so if we just want you to understand, we know that you're going to have a friend that you may have a romantic relationship with. We respect that, that's fine. You just need to know that there's a time and a place, that this is not the time and a place to display that affection. So just respect your partner, respect yourself and the people around you, and you'll be in a good place. Before I turn it over to Mr. Jenkins, I just want to add a little note to that, and this is, we have been really impressed with you guys this year. Your level of maturity, it's not what we've seen in the recent years. You're just handling yourself in a very respectful manner, displaying maturity that we wouldn't expect, particularly out of 6th and 7th graders. You guys are just, you've raised the bar, and 8th graders, you're already there and operating at that, and I know we expect 8th graders to set that example and do what you need to do here to have a great campus and a great year. So guys, we really, really like you. We are looking forward to this year. We enjoy seeing you on campus, and we want you to have a lot of fun while you're here and invest in your learning. Take it seriously. You are worth investing in education in, so make sure that you do everything you need to do to gain the knowledge that you want for your future. So thank you guys for your time. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jenkins.
Good morning, students, and good morning, staff. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to follow Mr. Welton's lead. And since no one is here, I'm going to go ahead and take off my mask, so hopefully you can understand. Students, just to continue the momentum that Mr. Welton alluded to, we are so very impressed at the start of this year. Students are doing a very, very good job in behaving. So to make sure and ensure that we continue to be on the same page, that's why we are speaking to you this morning, so that we can clarify everything and again, get on the same page so there is no confusion. Let's go throughout the day and start with buses in the morning. When you are at your bus stop, the expectation is for you to have on your mask, number one. Number two, there should not be any horse playing, no running around, no hitting, no kicking, none of that type of behavior. You stand at your bus stop, you talk to your peers, and you wait on your bus. Again, when you get on the bus, your mask should be on. I tell students every year, your responsibility is to get on the bus in your assigned seat and have a nice bus ride to school. It is not to create chaos. It's not to get out of your seat and walk up and down the aisle. Those things are not prohibited on the bus. And again, I say it every year, you don't have to pay for the bus driver. You don't have to pay for gas. All we're asking you guys to do is get on the bus, sit down, talk quietly to your peers, and have a safe ride to school. Once you are here, you have two places to be in the morning. Number one is in the cafeteria. I want you to get out the bus, go straight to the cafeteria, eat your breakfast. After you eat your breakfast, the second place for you to be is in your pods. So if you're in the 7th grade, you should be in the G pod, 8th grade in the B pod, and 6th grade in the D pod. Now, what we want to get away from, which we haven't had a great deal of the start of the year, and that is kudos to you guys, is the fact that we do not want students to go to the pods, hang out with their peers, talk to their friends, and then go eat breakfast. Because if that is the case, then you're going to be late going to your first period class. So again, the plan for you is off the bus, to the cafeteria to eat, to your pods, so you be ready to rock and roll when the bell rings for your first period. The gates open at 8:45 every morning. So they're open on the bus ramp at 8:45, and they were open when you get dropped off in front of school. And again, that's when we start today, and for you to go to your two places. Last year, I want to talk about tardies for a second. Last year, just so that I would know, I timed myself walking at a casual pace, not speed walking at a casual pace to the furthest class in G-Pod, all the way to my car in front of school. It took me exactly 3 minutes and 47 seconds at a casual pace, 3 minutes and 47 seconds. And that is the furthest distance on campus. G-Pod, furthest class to the parking lot. So what am I saying? What is Mr. Jenkins saying? I am saying that we have 4 minutes between classes, between our transitional period from class to class. And with that 4 minutes, that is ample time for you to be in class, get to class on time. So please, keep the socializing at a very, very bare minimum. Say hello, say goodbye, and get to class on time, because teachers are going to record tardies, and then we will have plans in place for students that do not get to class on time. But again, nobody's doing that at this point. You guys are doing a great job, fantastic job getting to class. So again, we want to continue that momentum. So thank you guys for doing that. Once you get to class, our teachers, they have a tall task every year, every class, and that is to give you the best education possible. In order to give you the best education possible, then your job is to sit quietly, follow their directives, focus on the content that is given to you, and conduct yourself in a Murdock Middle School Mariner way. No foolishness, no chaos, no disruptions, because what happens if you decide to make a poor choice, the teacher has to redirect and correct you, which is taken away from her instructing. And that is not fair to the rest of the students in your class. And again, that is not happening. So, kudos to you again for making great choices, and I know that you will continue to do so. But our teachers are going to bring their A game every day. We have a phenomenal staff here at Murdock. So you have to respect them and bring your A game every day as a student. And if that occurs and continue to occur, great things are continuing to happen. So thank you guys for doing that. Class assignments, we have a different method this year with our Chromebooks. So make sure that if you're giving class assignments and homework, that you do your job, again, follow through, get your work done. This year we have a new way to submit student incident forms. If you go to ClassLink, if you have an issue, if you have a situation, if you have a problem, and you need to submit a school incident form, then you go to ClassLink and you will find that icon. And then you will complete that form. It will come directly to administration, and then your situation, your issue will be addressed. And that leads me into something that I take very serious. We all take very serious, because it's a very serious item or situation, and that is bullying. Guys, I can't tell you how important it is to make sure that you take care of yourself, that you don't talk about anybody, that you don't demean anyone, that you don't try to intimidate anyone or antagonize anyone, that you don't talk about the color of their hair on a repetitive basis, or talk about their clothes, or talk about the car that their parents drive. Listen, when you do that and you do it over and over and over again, then what you are displaying is ingredients and symptoms of bullying. And it is going to be a bullying situation. And again, I cannot tell you how serious that is, because you have no idea. What you are doing is that you're making someone else feel like they do not have value. You're making someone else, instead of wearing a smile, having fun at school, they're wearing a frown and they don't want to be here. And that's just not right. So again, we want here, and we do a great job at this, we want to uplift students every day, each and every day. We want to inspire and we want to encourage students. We do not want to take the wind out of their sails. We don't want to name call. We don't want to pick. We don't want to tease. There is no room for that at Murdoch. And again, if that happens, then that's a very serious infraction, and that's the way it will be dealt with. And guys, we don't want to go down that route. We just don't. We don't, because it is not a win-win for anybody involved. Not on our end, because we have to enforce the penalty or the consequences for bullying, and not on your end, because chances are you'll be missing days of school, and we don't want that. It's not a win-win for anybody. So that, again, tend to our own business, encourage, inspire, and we're going to be okay. Now, bullying used to, if it occurred back in the day when I was coming up, because we didn't have all this technology now, it would just be word of mouth. Now, of course, you have a lot of media outlets, cell phones being the biggest. So if you talk to your friends and you talk about somebody, that's called cyberbullying. And you don't want to get involved in that either, because what students do is they take screenshots of what is being said about them. They come to school, they bring it to our attention. We see that it's been ongoing, that you are antagonizing someone, and again, that is bullying. And we want to stay far, far away from that. So again, thank you guys for not doing that. And thank you guys for being kind to each other. And that's all we want to do. Again, uplift. On another note, sporting events and activities are going to start in October. I think practicing, I think volleyball is the first one out the door, and then go into basketball. But what is surprising to some students is that they are so excited to go to tryouts, want to try out for the team and play on the team. And we want everyone to have that opportunity. However, if you do not have a grade point average of a 2.0, then you will not have the opportunity to play in sports and sporting activities for our school and represent our school. And again, we want to give everyone that opportunity. We don't want anyone to be surprised at all. So please do your work in the classroom. Make sure you stay on top of things, because when it gets time to fill out those forms and take physicals, and your adrenaline is going because you're so excited, and then if someone have to tell you you did not make it because you didn't have a 2.0, that is not handling your business in the classroom. And again, we want you to have that opportunity. These are years that you would never forget. As I'm sitting here talking to you, I remember my sporting events that I participated in middle school. Some of the best times of my life, and we want you to have that opportunity too. You will never forget it. So handle your business in the classroom, handle your academics, so that you will be afforded that opportunity. We're going to get more and more to our after-school clubs and activities. With that being said, your sponsors will contact you of when those days and times are going to be. And what's very important about that is to make sure that your ride is on time, because it would be unfair to your sponsors to have to stay here 5:30, 6 o'clock waiting on someone to pick you up. So make sure that you're here on time, your parents are here on time to be picked up as we get off and running with our clubs in the very near future. Last but not least, dismissal. When the final bell rings at 4:10, you should treat it just like your 4-minute transitional period from period to period. Our buses should be off the ramp 4 to 5 minutes after the final bell. What does that mean? That means that you cannot take this time to socialize. We can't have students in the A grade pod in B building walking to try to find their friends in G building or D building. It's not that time, guys. We have to clear this campus as soon as possible. Parents are waiting on students to get off their bus. We have to get students on the bus so the bus drivers can start their routes as soon as possible. So on the final bell at 4:10, again, your job is to get to the bus. Again, follow the rules of the bus. Have a seat, good manners, get to your destination, and everything will be peachy and cream, and that would be a great day. But do not stay here and try to socialize and to delay everyone else. That's unfair to them. That's unfair to the bus drivers. And if that is the case, then we'll have to find another way for you to go home. I think I have covered all the material that I need to at this point. Again, like Mr. Welton alluded to earlier, you guys are off to a fantastic start. We are so very proud of you. Keep up the good work and doing great things. And this is going to be a phenomenal year for our staff, for our students, and for everyone involved. Have a great day. Take care of yourself. And always mind your business. Do a great job. Thank you.
Hi Mariners, welcome to the 2020-2021 school year. So excited to see your happy faces back on campus again. If we haven't met, I'm Dr. Christine Young. Come up and say hi, I'd love to meet you. I have a couple of things to cover today in our grade level meetings. First thing being Chromebooks. You were assigned a Chromebook just like you might have been assigned a textbook. You are expected to bring that Chromebook charged to school every day. Your teachers will have you doing assignments and they need you to have it just like you would pencil and paper. A warning though, please don't walk around with your Chromebooks open, and please don't put things like pencils and papers in your Chromebook and shut the lid, because either of these things can cause the screen to break, and if you break the screen, the Chromebook will have to be replaced. The second thing, students, are credits for promotion. I've been getting a lot of questions about this. For each grade level promotion, whether you're going from 6th grade to 7th grade or so on and so forth, you have to earn a certain number of credits to be promoted. In order to go to high school on time, you have to earn all 12 required credits. If you have an F in a class at the semester, you might get placed in a class called credit recovery. Come see me if this happens and I will explain it to you. But for the most part, I need you to be aware that your core classes have credits attached to them, and if you do not earn them because you've earned an F, you'll have to make it up. And finally, I know many of you were disappointed this year with the schedule that we ended up having due to COVID. The master schedule had to be changed. That couldn't be avoided, and some of the classes some of you were anticipating had to be removed. We know that that's been tough on some of you, but if you need a schedule change because something is wrong with your schedule, I encourage you to talk to your school counselor. We can't make changes based on preference at this time, and many of our classes, such as Spanish 1, are full, so you might be turned away if you make those kinds of requests. But if something's wrong in your schedule, we're going to try and help you fix it. So I encourage you to talk to your school counselor. And finally, any of you that want to participate in band, make an appointment with your school counselor and they can explain the process for getting into the band classes. We want everyone who wants this opportunity to have that opportunity. I hope to see you around on campus, and until next time, bye guys.